What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, I just want to update you briefly on a few of the put positions that I am currently in as we are seeing this market weaken, making lower highs all day today, lower highs all day yesterday. And at this point, I'm still thinking that there is some potential downside. Now, I don't think this is going to be a crazy correction as some people may think, but I definitely see that the price action is weak, and I definitely think that I want to continue to ride the trend to the downside. As intraday, if you watch the price action, if you are here watching the market intraday, you will sort of understand what I'm saying. The bounces today and the price action today just continues to be very weak. Until something along those lines changes, I'm going to have to continue to think that there is maybe a little bit more downside on this market. So I'm going to update you on some of my positions, give you another idea of what I'm looking at, also give you an update on how I feel about the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, and the Dow. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. After watching today's video, if you do enjoy it, make sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel for some more videos, and of course, press that bell notification so that you guys know every single time that I post and every single time that I go live. All right, guys, so up on your screen, you're going to be looking at the NASDAQ futures, and this is the daily chart. Now, the first thing I want to focus on is just the last 4 days of price action here in the NASDAQ. Let's go ahead and zoom in, and let's go ahead and look at the last 4 daily candles. Now, the one thing that you are going to notice here on the last 4 daily candles is the really ugly wicks to the upside. You can see on the tops of all 4 of these candles, the market has attempted to move higher. It's mostly moved higher in the pre-market. We have seen pre-market moves yesterday morning, and this morning we have seen strong pre-market moves, which just ultimately fail intraday, which is really not that good of a sign. You're getting some weak buying in the pre-market, low buying, low volume, and usually the pre-market can be a little bit manipulated. And with that move higher in the pre-market, the real telltale sign is what happens when the market opens. And when the market opens, the weakness just floods in. And that is really not something that I really like to see if I was a bull here. I just think I have to continue to ride this trend down because just looking at the candlesticks, reading the price action, taking the emotions out of it, I think there could be some downside here. These last 4 daily candles just don't look great to me. And I think I'm still sticking to my guns here that I think the NASDAQ needs to fall to this 50 SMA, and it needs to fall to this previous resistance that I think will turn into support. So at this point, I would like to see the NASDAQ fall to around 15,100, 15,150, which is just another 1.5% down from where we are. So nothing crazy, not 10%, not 8%, not 20%. I think just a modest 1.5% to 2% from where we are now would be still healthy, and I want to try to take advantage of this move lower. For that reason, you guys know I'm in QQQ puts right now, which are profitable as it sits today. Of course, that can change. And I also added another put position on another stock that I will go over later in this video. So right now, you guys can see the daily candles look very weak, and I think we could move down to this 50. Now, if I play devil's advocate to my own position here, I do like that the NASDAQ is slightly holding that 20 SMA. You guys can see that we have attempted to fall and close below that 20 SMA here on the daily chart, but we have gotten bought up and closed above that 20 SMA. So if there is any possibility for upside, I would say it's due to the hold of this 20 SMA. Ultimately, if this 20 SMA holds up, then this could create a very nice buying opportunity to the upside. But until I see a change of trend here, until I see some really strong price action, I'm not going to just go ahead and take a call position in hopes that it does hold, because the price action is telling me otherwise. So that's how I feel on the NASDAQ, guys. I still believe we could have some more downside to this 50 SMA here on the daily chart. If I break this down to the 5-minute chart over the last few days, you guys can clearly see what the trend is here. This is the 5-minute chart over the last 4 days of price action. And what you'll see is that we have these pre-market moves higher and these intraday moves lower. So here is a pre-market spike and then a market open slip. Here is a pre-market spike and a pretty large market open slip, right? Here is a yesterday Monday, a pre-market move higher, and right as the market opened, we moved back lower. We did the exact same thing this morning on CPI data, and we moved higher, and we rejected, and we are now slipping once again. So at this point, I just have to continue to trust this trend. Even if we see these pre-market spikes, then I think we could move lower. The last thing I want to go over is basically the last line of support where I think this could hold until I think we might get this slip. And that is right here at Monday's lows and today's lows. You guys can see that on your chart here. The last 2 days, we have held this 15,346, which is the 20 SMA on the daily chart. So if I zoom in here in the 5-minute, that's just about where the 50 SMA is on the daily chart. And you guys can see that these last 2 days, we have held at this level. So if we crack this level, we try to retest it and fail, then I think we are likely on our way down to that 50 SMA. That is what I want to see personally for my QQQ puts. Not, of course, some people may not want to see that if they are bullish here, but for my position specifically, if you are in put options, that is the move that you want to see. You want to see this dip below yesterday's lows and below today's lows. You want to see a retest and a fail, and then I think you can get that downside. The last thing that I want to reiterate here on the NASDAQ and my QQQ position before we go any further is that my QQQ position is partially hedging my long-term portfolio. I talked in my chat a lot about this. If you are in no positions and you're just taking QQQ puts as a position to make money to capitalize on the downside, I would be careful. I would go smaller size because at any moment this thing could really bounce. In my position, I have a long-term portfolio to hedge any losses, and that QQQ put will help me hedge any of those losses on my longer-term portfolio. So if this thing bounces, yes, I may lose some money on my Q puts, but I will be able to make some of that back with my long-term shares. So in my position, I'm taking this not only to make some money on this dip, but also as a hedge to my long-term portfolio. So hopefully you guys understand the difference between just taking Q puts and taking Q puts to hedge a long-term portfolio. So that is my feel on the NASDAQ. The next one that I want to show you guys today is the ES. This is the S&P 500. This is the daily chart right here on your screen. This is the daily chart. So as we stand right now, I think the ES is in an interesting position. The reason I say that is because we have almost came back down to this 50 SMA. And if you look at the last 5 dips, the last 4 dips on the ES, the S&P 500, we have came down to this 50 SMA, and that has been about the extent of the drop. So tomorrow, I am going to be quite interested to see if this S&P 500 can hold up at this 50 SMA. If we start to get some bullish confirmation here, if we start to move higher, a green daily candle, then maybe this is the extent that the S&P drops here. Of course, history doesn't always repeat itself, but if I was a betting man, I would definitely look at these last 4 dips and definitely consider the fact that maybe we could bounce off this 50 SMA. So tomorrow and into the end of this week, I would definitely be eyeing the S&P 500 here at the 50 SMA, which is right around 4,423. So 4,423. That is right where that 50 SMA is here on the daily chart. Today's daily candle does not really instill much confidence. It still looks pretty bearish to me, but I definitely want to keep an eye on this 50 SMA on the S&P 500, because if you guys look at the last 4 dips here, that is about the extent of the dips before we start to get a big move back higher. If you guys want to try to catch a bounce, this is what you want to look at, right? So look at the last 3 dips and look at the green candle that comes off of the 50 SMA. Look how strong and engulfing these green candles can be. That is what you want to see. You want to see a pretty big green candle that engulfs the previous day or the previous 2 days price action. Then I think you get that move to the upside. If you just have a really small green candle that really is just is in the body of the previous red candle. So let's just say this moves up to around 44.50 and the red candle is still pretty engulfing, then I'm not so sure you're going to catch that dip. But if you get a very large engulfing green candle, I think that is your key to look for on the daily chart for the potential dip buy opportunity. So that's my feeling on the ES. The 50 SMA will be the key level to watch tomorrow. Finally, the YM, before we get into the position that I took today, the put option position that I took today. And this is the YM. And you guys can see that today really was not a very positive day for the Dow. I thought that we would see some type of reaction back to the upside off of this 100 SMA where we bounced these last 2 times. But you guys can see this reaction is very different than these last two reactions. The last two times we fell to the 100, look how strong that daily candle is on the Dow. Look at this this attempt here this time. You can see green candle, but followed by an engulfing red candle. That is not a good sign to me because I would have liked to see this type of bounce if I expected the Dow to move back higher and try to catch that dip buy. So at this point, I still have to be bearish here on the Dow because the price action is just not there, in my opinion. You can see we should have moved higher here. We should have moved in a very nice green engulfing candle, just like we did back in June and July. But this time around, not so much. So make sure to be aware there. Watch that 100 SMA. If we can't hold up tomorrow, I definitely think that there could be some downside here as well. Maybe back to these lows from back in July, which is right around 34,000 on the Dow. So to overview my feeling on the market right now, I am definitely still slightly bearish here. The price action is not strong. There's nothing about today's price action that proves to me that there's upside coming. Of course, just like the stock market sometimes does, guys, something can come out of the blue and we could go crazy to the upside, and I'll have to take a loss on some of my QQQ puts. That is just the unfortunate truth of the market. Things can come out of nowhere. Unexpected moves can happen. That is just what, that's what we sign up for when we come into this marketplace. But as of right now, if I take my emotions out of this trade, the technicals are still showing to me that the trend is to the downside and that the price action is still very weak. So that's my feeling on the market, guys. And finally, before we jump out of here, I'm going to show you the put option that I took today, and that is on Netflix. So today, I took a October 15th 560 put on Netflix for $10.50. It is right here in the Discord chat. If you want to join, first link in the description below. I posted a chart where I got in. That's right around here when we started to reject off of the 9 EMA. You guys can see that on your screen. This is a nice little 9 EMA rejection entry right here on Netflix. That was just about, I want to say, about 30 minutes into the market, 9:57. So yeah, just about 27 minutes into the market is when I got that put. Now, it looks very good. Daily chart looking like it's starting to turn over. If I go to the 5-minute chart today, you guys can see that we really just continue to move down here today. This is today's price action right here for you guys. 1 second. Right here, this is today's price action. And there is nothing here that makes me think that Netflix is going to continue higher. You can see lower highs and lower lows all day, just riding that trend lower. The important chart that I am watching here on Netflix is the 20-day 1-hour chart, and that is right here. You guys can see we broke below these support levels right here. There were some support levels back from early month. We started to, early September. We broke below those today. Right here is your break below those levels. So when I saw that start to break down, I wanted to take my shot on these Netflix puts. As of right now, I have a price target of 570. That is my realistic price target here because I do not see much support from this point at 583 to 570. There is really not much structure on this market here. So I think that we could potentially move back to 570. That is my current price target on these Netflix puts. If I zoom out to the daily chart, if we drop below 570, there could be definitely some more downside here, but I don't really want to mess around with some of these previous support levels back in the 560s. You guys can see there's definitely some demand in this area, right? So you have these previous highs, which I would expect to act as some type of support here to the downside. So I'll monitor this. I have 10-15 puts, so I have a little bit of time, but I will keep you guys updated on this position. I like the break below 583 today. Daily chart definitely looks like it's starting to lose steam. And if the NASDAQ continues to that 50 SMA, I think Netflix is one that will continue lower as well. So guys, that's just about all that I have for this video. Just wanted to give you a quick update on how I feel on the market so that you guys can come into tomorrow with some idea of what maybe I'm thinking, what you could try to formulate yourself. I always like for people to look at information, take what other people's opinions are, and create a hypothesis of their own. I don't want you to just follow what I am saying. I want you to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, learn from it, see if you agree. If you don't, there's absolutely no problem with that. Create a hypothesis of your own and trade off that plan. If you're in the markets, you need to create plans. You need to create those plans. You need to stick by them and trust them. If they don't work, they don't work. That's why you use proper risk management. If you don't have a plan coming into these trades, it is very difficult to trust your analysis, to trust your positions. So I definitely recommend to come into the market, make your plans, and trade off of them. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel for some more videos. Make sure to come check out the live streams every single morning. We're just around 500 to 600 viewers on a daily basis. I have about 33,000 subscribers, so I'd love to see some more of you guys there in the morning preparing yourself for market open. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to press the bell notification, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.